Hey everyone, and welcome to Television from the Multiverse, the DC TV podcast from Mailfuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Connor.
Yes, it is.
And what do we have this week? We have Titans, and that is all we have. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. I'm kidding. We're in the off-season. We do have a new episode of Titans, of course, still. The DC Universe are basically going to ensure that, with the exception of the breaks between shows, because they have like 1 week breaks between shows, that seems to be the pattern right now.
At least it does between this first one.
And the second too.
Oh, does it?
Well, yeah, because we've got a rumoured date for the next several shows.
I didn't bother working out whether it meant there was a week or not.
There's definitely a week off as well between Young Justice and Doom Patrol, if those dates turn out to be true. Which is why I wouldn't really go cover them in news, because they are just kind of rumoured, but they look kind of reasonable.
They line up with where we expect.
Yeah, so it makes sense. If anything, they're a little bit earlier than that graph we got back at the convention or whatever it was that came out of. But so we got Titans, but we were also, because of due to the votes, we did votes on what shows we would do. First of all, we did a vote on if we should switch the shows, because obviously we've been doing Lois and Clark and Smallville, and we did a vote to see if we would continue with those into the next off season, because we'd finished both of those season ones pretty much at the exact same time, funnily enough. Which makes sense because they're about the same length, but just in the sense that might not always be the case. Some might finish at different times. But so the vote was one to change, and then we did votes to see which two shows would replace them, and the winners were The Flash, the 90s show, and Gotham. So we'll be doing the first episodes of both of those, and then we'll be doing the first episode of Batman the Animated Series. It was going to be the first two episodes of Batman the Animated Series. It's only one because we went to watch The Flash. We had no idea it was a double-length pilot. It was 90 minutes, and we said, shit, let's cut a Batman, because this is much longer.
Also, I did have a little flick through. This should work out nicer for when we get to the first two-parter.
That's a good point. If we get to a two-parter and it's been split because of where we are, we'll do an extra one that week to make the two-parter fit in the one episode.
Right.
I'm saying that now. If we get to either the Clayface one or Robin's Wrecking, whatever it may be.
I'll be honest. For time's sake, I was thinking that we'd just cut one from a week either side, so it lined up.
We'll see how busy it is that week. It depends what else is going on. I'm more inclined to just squeeze an extra one in, but
but there's a lot of DC shows.
Fine, you're a bad cop. Let it be known, folk. I was striving for extra. So without further ado, we'll get jumping in to the shows. So we're getting Crisis on Infinite Earths next year.
Yeah, and we're watching shitty Titans.
It's just not settled in yet. I'm still thinking about it. But yeah, Titans season 1, episode 10 is called Koriand'r. Not surprisingly, we have Kori remember who she is. To an extent, she's not got all the details, but she's getting bits and pieces of it by the end. We see her ship. We see a pretty decent little fight actually with Wonder Girl coming in with the lasso. We get some lasso action, and that was pretty nifty. And this side of the episode was definitely the positive side of the episode. It
is very much an episode of two halves, isn't it?
Yes, everything with Dick, Kori, and Donna. And Donna be like, "Oh, you're sleeping with her," and all those jokes, and then getting to the ship and learn.
Donna's great.
Learn a bit about Tamaran, and Joe. And this was the thing I noted when they got to the ship. I was like, they've actually built a set for this, which means I'm pretty sure we're going to keep using it. So I'm expecting when they become the Titans and they become a team that's going around saving people, this Kori's ship will probably be their plane that'll take them around the planet.
Yeah, this is what happened in the New 52 Red Hood and the Outlaws. Kori's ship was their base.
I don't want to know this. I do not want to know this.
Oh shit! I'm bringing the knowledge.
No, do not infect my brain with Red Hood
knowledge.
With Red Hood facts.
Yeah.
I don't want.
I'm just saying that's where they got it from. And
the only thing I want to know about Jason Todd is how many hits it took to kill him.
11.
I hope it was more.
No, it's 11. I counted.
So no, this stuff was, it was like, oh, Trigon's coming. This is when we get the first name drop. She's looking at her file. She's remembering things. She's like, oh, we're here to stop the reason why I was sent to kill Rachel potentially was because she is the key to bringing her father out, and her father is Trigon, who will completely decimate the planet and then go on to decimate other planets, including Tamaran. And obviously this is a bit different from our comic origins, because, you know, at least going from New Teen Titans, Kori is actually enslaved and then escapes her captors, and she ends up in Earth, and, you know, that's kind of how she gets there. So this is a bit different so far. None of which bothers me, to be honest. This is fine.
It's the sort of change I can accept.
Yeah. I don't mind these changes. These are whatever. These are fine. And, you know, actually, I think we had a really good laugh at the end of this scene when she's like getting all this intel out, because at the end of the scene when Dick realizes how bad this is, and the fact that Raven, you know, like, her mother might be secretly evil and try to convince Raven to open the portal, and Dick just says, like, you know, oh shit, or maybe it was an F-bomb.
No, it was an F-bomb.
It was an F-bomb.
Because I distinctly remember thinking that is the most appropriate F-bomb of the show.
Yeah. But it was basically Joe Bluth, I've made a huge mistake. That was the moment. But it played well, and I'm not making fun of it. It played well because that's what it felt like.
I say it was the most appropriate, because you know how, like, a show, you know, if it's not on this, you get one, right? You get one F-bomb. If there was going to be one, this is the one.
No, that's true. They've had some reasonable ones and funny ones, though. It's just the F-Batman at the start is the one that sticks out as, like, nah, that was forced. And
I thought they were really flipping with it in the first few episodes.
Yeah, that's fair. I think after like 2 or 3, it kind of settled a little bit, and most of the ones we've had have either made sense or they've been really funny. So they've been like, yeah, just let that pass.
I think there was some funny ones with the Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
After that, I kind of just like, I kind of got numb to it. Just it was relatively frequent that I don't remember them anymore.
Yeah, maybe that's the thing. Maybe the funnier ones are the ones that are standing out to me because they're the ones that are memorable.
Yeah.
But so no, that side of things, I enjoyed. I enjoyed that side of the episode. I'm actually digging the Save the World plot from that perspective of the rest of the characters.
But because I sense a but coming.
Now you're inherently a little bit more severe than I am when it comes to criticizing Rachel, and particularly the performance of the actress. But I have to admit, there's a few times in this particular episode where she had to on cue get really sad or get really like scared. She
had to cry.
Yeah, or cry specifically. Yeah, on you know, on the drop of a hat. Like it was like, you know, like a sudden kind of like, you know, the sort of scene where it suddenly hits a character that something horrible's just happened, so they kind of go and they sort of break down. It did make me laugh out loud when she did this once or twice in this episode.
Yeah. It was kind of comically bad.
I think this is maybe the other thing is, like, because you joked and said, "Oh, I bet her mum's evil" early in the episode, and it makes see if this wasn't based on anything, I'd have agreed with you. But in my head, I was like, "No, but that's not the comics."
Doesn't matter.
I didn't fight you on it, but in my head I was like, no, but that's not the comics. So no.
You know when this show said F Batman, it was going F the comics. I was like, no, we're just doing whatever.
But like, I was like, no, but that's not the comics. Raven's mom, that wasn't the story in New Teen Titans. Shut up. But then, of course, it became very obvious. In fact, there's one point where she stabs Gar, and I almost counted down until she stabbed him, because it was meant to be a little surprise, and I was like 3, 2, 1, stabbing.
Yeah.
And sure enough, because it was just because it was framed. It was the person you think you're safe with is going to stab you scene. That's what it was. It was filmed the exact same way every scene like this has ever been filmed.
It is, and it's so cliche and boring.
Yeah. So the worst thing about this episode, though, is that, you know, she stabs Gar. Rachel's really upset because he's dying, and she's trying to heal him, and it's not working. She's like, but hey, your dad's more powerful than you. If you bring your dad over, he'll do it for you. He'll save him. And this is how she convinces her to open the portal. And okay, fine, whatever. She cares about Gar. I'll buy this, whatever. But we were like, okay, we're going to see Trigon. Trigon's going to step out of that portal, and we were really excited. We were thinking, oh, we got the big 8-foot tall demon. It's going to be prosthetic. It's going to be like Hellboy kind of makeup and shit. And then out walked just a regular plain white dude. He was just a dude. And I'm not surprised that he's going to be a dude most of the time. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely think that we'll get glimpses of what he really looks like throughout season 2.
Yeah, but now you know it's just going to be the shitty CG, right?
Yeah, it'll probably if it's just glimpses, it'll probably be shitty CG as opposed to like, proper
if they were gonna do a good prosthetic, they'd have done it here.
Yeah, and because it's not even like it'd be that unfeasible. I was thinking like if you remember the spin-off to the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Do you remember season 4 of Angel? They had this big demon dude was like the big bad for a lot of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, admittedly, Buffy and Angel had a lot of good demon prosthetics, but I'm thinking because he was tall and kind of demonic and
yeah,
evil,
no, I'm with you.
You know, I was thinking something like that or whatever, a bit more Trigon-esque, and he just steps out and he's just a dude.
No, we're gonna get CG, and this show has proven more than anything that it cannot do anything CG without it looking atrocious.
I will debate that and say it can't do 95% of CG without it looking atrocious.
Fine, I will concede 5%.
I think there's like 3 or 4 big moments that are sticking out to you, which are all atrociously looking, but they're all bad. I do not dispute this. Donna jumping over that truck, bad. The cars hitting the
Kid Dick.
What's her face? Donna Troy. Not Donna Troy.
Dawn. Like
Deanna Troy. That's what I was trying to say. I was trying to say Deanna Troy.
Oh, okay.
Because it's Marina Sirtis. Deanna Troy from Star Trek.
Yeah.
But there's a Donna Troy, so you can see where my confusion came in.
I can, yeah.
And I was building up to young Dick in the trees, which was the standout thing. And so the episode ends. The rest of the team come back. Trigon has saved Beast Boy. Raven embraces him and hugs him. Obviously, she's going to learn quickly at the start of next season not to trust him, and she'll join the team, right? That'll be when the team fully forms, when she decides to fight against her father because she realizes how evil he actually is.
Sure.
But so it ends with Dick. So there's like an visibility portal or portal, a barrier around the house, right? Trigon's got this cloaking barrier, and Dick walks through it, but then it doesn't let through the other two. Starfire and Donna try to go through and it doesn't work. And like, why can he go through? And I'll be honest, in my head, because everyone loves Dick, but the real answer, of course, is that Trigon wants to mess with him, because we were like really.
See, I think that's a byproduct actually. At first, I think that it's designed to keep out anyone with any sort of powers that's not just human.
Okay, I could buy that. Which
is why I think what's coming up is a byproduct. Don't get me wrong. It's like, well, he's in. I'm going to do something. But I think that's why he can walk through in the first place.
Because we saw the ad for the next episode, or I don't know if we even saw it, but we definitely saw the reactions to it on Twitter.
I saw it.
Yeah, I saw it after we watched this. I don't know if I actually watched it before that, but
I saw it on Twitter. It was one of those. It was everywhere that I couldn't avoid it.
But it was, the finale, Robin versus Batman. It was like, oh, Batman's evil. He's killing all the villains now, so Robin has to stop him. And we saw that, and we went, it's doing this? How does this fit in? But the thing is, though, had we watched this first, and now that I've watched this, I don't have a problem with it, because it's very clear that whatever's in the next episode is all inside Dick's head. It's Trigon making him see his worst fears or whatever.
I don't know if I'm going to say it's going to be enjoyable, but I can understand what its point is and
because the idea is that Dick's been saying all season that he thinks Batman's this ultra violent, going down this dark path. This is his worst fears of what Batman is becoming, and that he will have to stop him, right? That is what the point of this is going to be, at least I assume, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's weird that that's your finale.
Yeah, kind of intrigued to see the Batsuit.
So curious. I'm curious. Do you know what the best thing they could do for this? I was thinking about this earlier. Because Batman's never going to be like a main character on the show, we'll see him in shadows maybe in this next episode, in the distance or from behind or whatever.
They've said there's 3 stuntmen in the suit playing it, across the episode. So there's enough there to have enough screen time to need 3 people.
Yeah, but the point I'm being is they're not going to be doing like acting scenes. They're not going to be like having conversations.
No, he's probably not going to have any dialogue.
But here's the thing. I think you should have dialogue, but here's how you do it.
And you think you did Kevin Conroy to
Kevin Conroy, you keep him in shadows. Whenever he's talking, he is in the shadows. He's just a silhouette, and you have Kevin Conroy do the voice.
I don't disagree, because obviously, first thing you thought of, right?
Yeah, that's how I would do it.
I don't think they will.
I think that'd be the fun way to have him, is like this present like cameo every so often, but never have him be like a full character.
Yeah. Wasn't Conroy we heard talking as Bruce earlier in the season, though, was it?
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it then. I hadn't thought of it yet. It's fine.
Fine, whatever.
It's fine. Bruce and Batman are meant to sound different anyway. It's fine. They can just use Conroy for Batman.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, why not? It's fine. So I'm intrigued by what it'll do in this last episode. Going into it with that mindset, though, like any annoyance I had from it, and this is the thing. I saw some people on Twitter say, "Why did anyone think when they saw that well, that's what the final episode was going to be? Did you think it was real?" And honestly, it was just because of what this show has presented us so far that I thought it might be real.
Yeah, in this show, it's not completely implausible.
If you told me the next issue of Tom King's Batman was going to be this premise, I'd immediately say, okay, it's a dream, it's an illusion, it's a nightmare, it's a whatever, right? I'd immediately assume that. In this show, it seemed plausible that it might be real.
Yeah.
Until the end of this episode, where it was like, okay, it's clear that this is what it's going to be.
Yeah, but just hearing that, the headline, and then having seen, at that point, 8 episodes of this show.
Yeah.
I didn't discount 9?
Yeah.
Was this 10? Oh, Jesus. Oh,
it was 10.
Christ. Right. Having seen 9 episodes of this show at that point, I believed that it was a possibility that it was real.
Well, there you go. So it's kind of a murky episode. I loved the one side of it, and
it did have that phenomenal synth piece with
when she was driving. When Starfire was driving, there was a couple of great tracks. Good. So it definitely wasn't up there on my favorite episodes, just purely because half of it was a bit more like everything back at the farmhouse, the guy flirting with Raven's mum, that stuff was kind of iffy. Wasn't really feeling it, but
it was pretty rough.
But half of it was pretty good. So, I still feel potential overall in the show. I almost feel like once it gets past this initial plot and they can just be a team and they've got a new villain, I feel like it could be quite good. But we have to go through this first.
Yeah, and this is going to be most of season 2 as well.
Yeah, my hope is that Trigon is deliciously evil, and I'll grow to like this version of it just because he is awful and evil.
No, I'm down for
that. So here's home. But yeah, that was Titans. So we'll move on to the Flash, I think, next.
You hadn't decided on an order before this, had you?
I hadn't really decided, but I'm going to say the Flash, mainly because we just did something Dark and Batman related. This won't hold up, but of course when we get to Young Justice, but at least for this week and next week, I'll split the two Batman-y things up. Although that said, we'll go from Gotham to Batman the Animated Series later.
You did not think this through.
I've said the Flash. We're doing the Flash. And then you're getting your Bat block, right? So, this is the Flash. This is Season 1, Episode 1. It is the pilot. It is a 90-minute episode. And it is oddly kind of in a weird continuity now with the new shows, given that it's kind of Earth 90.
Yeah. Technically, yes.
Technically, when we saw this Flash in Elseworlds, this was his origin story.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. It's kind of cool that we can look back to this show that's nearly 30 years old, and it's here's the origin story of this one. It's okay.
Yeah. Do you know what I did notice? Barry's kind of a dick.
He's a little bit of a dick. He's a little bit of a dick, and this Central City feels very Gotham City.
It's Gotham meets Metropolis.
But if it's nighttime, it feels like Gotham. During the day, though, it feels more Central City-ish.
Yeah.
But nighttime, it feels very Gotham. I think part of that's just the way the backlots used to look in the 90s. I think also part of it, of course, is the fact that they've got Danny Elfman doing the main theme. And then something that I didn't know before I watched this here was that Shirley Walker, who does the music for Batman the Animated Series, which also had the main theme by Danny Elfman, does the music for this.
I did not know that either.
So it comes off feeling very early 90s Elfman-y in a lot of ways. Although I like Shirley Walker's Batman music a lot. I didn't notice a distinction as much in this so far, but it's only been the pilot, so I might notice more of her themes coming in.
Yeah, typical rule of thumb is when you have a guest composer in for the pilot, the one that did the theme, is that the first episode, a lot of it is based around their theme, and the other stuff doesn't develop much till later.
Yeah, that's fair. But I'll thoughts on that when we get to the animated series a little bit later. But
I said typically.
Typically, yes. So I think what might be different there with the animated show is that they may have done blocks of episodes at the same time.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, because they had 60 episodes. as a season. In fact, they actually produced 65 episodes as a season. They just held 5 back for season 2. But yeah, so I guess a lot of this discussion for this first episode especially is going to be what's different from the current show, what's different from the comics. I like looking at the credits and knowing that Iris West is nowhere to be found in any of the episodes after this. I was expecting.
Oh, really?
I was expecting them to break up by the end of the episode, which it is a bit of a slap in the face if you're a fan of Iris, which you probably are if you're a fan of The Flash. Bit weird that she's not going to be around. That actress, by the way, I recognized her, and I was looking her up on IMDb. I was like, what do I know her from? And she's been in episodes of so many different things that I think I've just developed a recognition, over a bunch of things. I think the main thing I know her from is actually a sitcom called Spin City, because I feel like I can actually picture a character in that, whereas everything else I can't. But she was also apparently the lead character in Hellraiser 3: Hell on Earth, which I have seen, for the record. But yeah,
you poor bastard.
Speaking of people in sitcoms, his lab technician friend Giulio, he was on Becker. I know him from that.
Oh, fair enough.
But speaking of recognizing people, his older brother Jay Allen.
We have a Jay.
Yes, we got a Jay. Not Jay Garrick. He looks like Jay Garrick though.
He would have made a great Jay Garrick.
Yeah, Tim Thomerson. I actually know him because he was in a lot of Full Moon Pictures direct-to-video movies. He was the titular Dollman in Dollman. He was also in Trancers, which had multiple movies. So I actually knew his face. He's been in a lot of B movies that I've seen. So
yeah,
that was also a pleasant sight. But yeah, so Barry's a bit of a dick.
There's a point where he's run to the beach and he's like, Iris, come pick me up. Doesn't even say please.
Yeah, he accidentally runs.
Phrase it as a question. It's like, can you come and pick me up? It's Iris, come pick me up.
He accidentally runs to a beach that's 30 miles away. And do you know what I appreciate about this first episode, though? I like that it does. I mean, as much as we were surprised it was double length, one thing that I'll compare it to with the modern shows is that taking 90 minutes to get to the point where he's in a suit designed to be a hero feels a lot more natural than doing it in 40 minutes.
It does, yeah.
Because there's trial and error. There's because the entire first half of the episode, the first hour of it, he's barely tested it yet. He's just he's had a couple of accidents where he's ran into a bush or he's ran to a beach or he's he's setting up all these other things. And there's a lot of generic TV stuff in this. There's the brother gets killed and he has to avenge his death, and because the mother's not dead in this. Because this was before we decided to kill Barry's mum with Reverse Flash.
Yeah, but we were at a point where every hero still needed a tragedy, right?
Yeah. And it's funny because there's a Linda Park as well, which was neat. I don't expect we'll see her again. She was just a random reporter in a couple of scenes.
Yeah, it's not as weird as Iris, because Iris, at the end when they break up, or I thought, this will be okay, we're breaking up for now, but it'll be a thing over the show, right? That's where we go. They'll come back together eventually.
Yeah, and they're back together though by the end of the episode.
Yeah.
And they made a sex joke, which I was not expecting because they're in bed together after they've been kissing, and she says, I didn't think it'd finish that quick. And I was like, oh man, they were making sex jokes about him being a speedster. I did not remember this from the time I watched this 8 years ago.
Well, got to get out of the way in your first episode, right?
But they're actually talking about a pay-per-view boxing fight.
Yeah, allegedly.
What are they talking about?
I think Barry's just like, yeah, that fight, eh?
Barry having a sidekick dog's okay, though. I'm okay with that as an idea.
Yeah.
It's fine. Why not? He's got a weird apartment, though. It's this really big, open, just living room.
It's such a TV set apartment, right?
Yeah, no one has an apartment like this. It's so... This living room is so huge. He has enough space behind his couch to, put, a pool table. 2 pool tables.
Do you know, I feel like I see this on a lot of American shows where the couch is kind of in the middle, and there's space behind it. I've seen this a lot, and I'm like, no. Every house I've ever been into, sofa's against the wall.
Oh no, I can't corroborate that, but
really, okay.
Yeah,
the main sofa's always against the wall in my experience, and then you have a chair off on its own.
I've been on a few, especially if you have an L-shaped couch. You might have like this like 2/3 of the room is like the main living area, but there's this other like third where there's maybe like bookshelves or something like that, and that'll be behind one of the couches. And I've had a room set up like that before. If your room is big enough, you can do it. You can kind of partition it a little bit using the couch.
Yeah, fair
enough. Admittedly, I've never had it in the middle of a room where there's walking space behind it just for people to talk.
Right. I feel like I've seen that on a bunch of TV shows. I'm like, I've never seen anything like this in reality. Maybe I'm just going into the wrong houses. Maybe I need richer friends.
Well, do you know the thing that TV and movie characters have a lot, like more common, I think people have in real life, is loft apartments where they have these big lofts where they have all this extra space, and I'm like, damn, I want to live in a place like this. And it's like, yeah, this loft apartment in New York's like going to cost like a millionaire's salary a month. Like, you know,
yeah,
this is hundreds of thousands in rent probably to live in a place like this. Because that's the classic thing people always go back to with friends is they can never afford that apartment. Like people have worked it out. They've done the math.
Yeah, but they always I distinctly remember at least Monica's apartment is like, no, it's rent controlled through like her grandmother or something. So that's why it's like no, it stays at that price.
Yeah, because they only maybe like 25 when that show starts.
Yeah.
But anyway, so. But did you like the pilot? Did you enjoy The Flash?
Yeah, I thought it was alright. Kind of a typical 90s show, right, for the most part.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. The villain was really lame. We've got like a biker gang, and the leader of the biker gang used to be a cop, and it was actually Jay Allen who like caught him, and like so he sees that as a betrayal, and he wants revenge.
Yeah, they were partners.
And, you know, it's a whole thing. Like, there's a lot of really generic elements in here, but there's a lot of fun stuff. Like, I feel like I think journalist Wesley Shipp, despite the fact that this Barry is a bit more of a dick,
he's still charismatic.
He's still kind of likable, even though he is a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, that makes up for stuff. I feel like it's something you don't do as much now as you have that. He's a slight douchebag, but he's a very likable douchebag. You don't get that as much now. I think it's harder to pull off.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I really saw it.
Yeah, but he's very much that. In fact, it's funny because they actually cast this way older. You know, when they cast Grant Gustin for Flash, he was 22. But I looked up Wesley Shipp, and he was 35 when this started. So, you know, they were going for more of a. I think when I read a comic book and I'm looking at the Superman or the Flash or whatever, I'm typically thinking they're in their mid-30s. That's what they feel like.
It depends. I always think Barry's a little bit younger than say, Clark or Bruce.
That's fair.
I feel like late 20s rather than mid-30s.
And obviously, if we're talking about Superman and Batman when they have their sons, I'm thinking maybe more like early to mid-40s. Like, you know, like... But that's kind of where I placed them in my head.
Yeah, so I wouldn't go quite that far. I think with the sons, I'd still say 35, 37.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. But if you typically think they're in their mid-30s and then they've got sons who are like 10.
Yeah, I guess the problem is they don't seem to age, even though
they don't. No,
kids are. So they're perpetually 35.
This is comics, yes, I know. I'm agreeing, but because they did de-age them with the New 52. They did like set it back because they had gotten to a point where they had to be in their 40s, and they didn't want them to be anymore. So they put them back. And then told us that Bruce somehow had 4 Robins and a son, one of which is a son, rather, in the space of 5 years, even though his son's like 10. Or not even 10, 13.
Hey, sped up cloning. It's a thing.
No, it's not. So, you know, this episode sets up the core things of the series. There is a Star Labs. We have one person who works at Star Labs, Christina McGee, played by Amanda Pays, who did cameo on the new show as well at one point. And she lost her husband, which is funny because that made me think of Caitlin. I was thinking of Caitlin as she was saying this. Oh, I lost my husband last year in a lab accident, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe that was not accidental.
Even like them training. I mean, it's like a running track on this one versus just the open field or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's not a running track. It's the one that the cars go around, and I'm forgetting the name.
Oh, the racetrack.
Yeah. No, but it's a specific type of track. It's got with the curved wall like that. It's got a specific name for it.
Okay.
but I'm blanking on it now.
Take your word for it. But yeah, so he's running around in circles and he breaks the sound barrier and all that. Obviously, one of the other things we're noticing here is like the effects they use to show him running fast. Very different. Like one of the main things it shows like a POV shot when he's running really fast down the street, and it's clear that they've just driven the camera down a couple of streets and then sped it up really fast.
Yeah.
So it's just whizzing by. Yeah, well, that's fine. Like you do what you can at the time.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see like what villains we get. And obviously we get the Trickster because that's Mark Hamill. We know that because he showed up again in the new Flash. But like, is there a Reverse Flash in this show? I don't know. I'm curious to find out.
I doubt it.
Yeah,
but who knows?
Is there a Captain Cold?
More plausible.
I don't know. I'm curious. Who do we get? But I mean, you know, it is what it is. There's not a whole lot of plot to talk about this first one, I don't think, because it is mostly just there's this bigger guy and they're causing chaos in the city. Brother gets killed, and this is why because at first he wants rid of his powers. He wants to be cured, and then he realizes he can do something with them. So he starts, he's like, "Hey, make me a suit." And see that this gang have a symbol. I want a symbol too. I've drawn one. Here, use this.
I appreciate that he named himself rather than just oh look, newspaper did it.
Yeah, that's cool. How he's going to? I mean, I guess he will say it as the Flash at some point to some people, and that'll get around it. That's what he's calling himself. But in this, he just says it to like. I think one of the cops when he's interrogating the woman, where he's like, "Yeah, if I don't get you, the Flash will." As if anyone will know that he's called the Flash yet.
Yeah, I think he says to the guys interrogating, it's like, "Oh, he kind of just appeared like a flash." It's like, okay, he's got himself his name.
Yeah, and he says it again at the end. He's talking to his brother's son, and he's like, "Hey, I know I don't run towards danger like your dad, but if you need me, I'll be there on the Flash." And it's wink, wink, and the camera goes up. So yeah, I don't know why Iris is just missing after this. According to IMDb, maybe she's guesting in the next episode and they explain it. I don't know. But when I looked up the actress, it said she was in one episode and it was the pilot. So
I'm inclined to believe it.
Yeah. 90s TV for you is basically what I feel about that.
Yeah.
So, well, that'll take us on to Gotham. And we take this show so seriously that we change clothes between this section and the last section.
Gotham deserved all black. We're in mourning.
Yeah, basically we had to start so late yesterday we couldn't finish the show before calling it a night. I'll blame Christmas, although it's really Connor's fault. But
Christmas-related activities
sure,
is why it happened.
Christmas via Connor proxy, so you're still partly to blame. So it's your life decisions, that's what it is. But we are here, and we're going to finish the show. We've got Gotham to talk about right now, and it is Season 1, Episode 1. It is the pilot. That's what it's called. And, yeah, I mean, I have seen this before, as have you. I think I saw the first 4 or 5 episodes back when it first aired. You saw maybe half the season.
I maybe got up to the mid-season break, so 8 maybe.
Yeah. I was remembering things as they were happening, but I couldn't have told you anything that happened in this before I watched it.
Say, like, to the point where when this episode started, I was like, wait, we did this at the start? This was the first thing this show did? I completely forgot.
Yeah, the first thing we do is we kill the Waynes again.
Via Catwoman.
Yes, Catwoman. Well, Cat Teen is witnessing this. Which, by the way, one of the things I hated when I first saw this, and I hate it now, maybe even more so, is how Selena Kyle, as like a 13-year-old, is still like sexily moving around, like, like the gargoyles and shit and the fire escapes. And when I say sexily, what I mean is they've got her moving in a way that's supposed to be sexy, but it just looks kind of stupid because she's like 13. But she's always like crouched and she's always like slyly moving around, and I'm like, this is stupid. Also, the actor playing young Bruce Wayne is atrocious.
Yeah, the young Catwoman doesn't seem so bad.
Well, she's not having any lines of dialogue yet, so
I know, but from what I've seen so far, she's fine. And from what I vaguely remember, I don't remember having any huge problems with her.
Sure.
Not compared to Bruce.
Yeah. So people, I know people like this show. People like Gotham, and from what I've heard, though, people typically like it season 2 onwards. And I get the feeling from people. Now, not everyone might admit this, but I get the feeling that it's because it gets so insane that it just becomes a fun show because it's just nuts, right? And I can appreciate that. And when we get to season 2. maybe we'll discover that too. But season 1, from what I've seen of it, and certainly rewatching this pilot, I think
atrocious.
Is garbage. Yes.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of things I like in this. I like the casting of Donald Logue as Harvey Bullock.
Probably the best thing about the show.
He's good casting. He's good casting. There's a lot of conceptual things about this show, though, that I just do not like. I think the city looks okay. It feels kind of Gotham-y.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not like anything special Gotham, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's not special, but it feels, Gotham-y enough.
Yeah.
There's a lot of conceptual things that I'm not a big fan of in this show.
Where do you want to start?
I mean, people know me, I'm not a big fan of Smallville, and one of the things that I didn't like about the concept of this show is that it's set before Batman. Like, because we like the comic book series Gotham Central, which is the whole idea is that we're following the cops in Gotham City, and Batman's at best like a cameo here or there. We're following these characters, and it's about them having to deal with the fact that the city's full of these insane villains, right? That is the premise. And that sounds like a great TV show. But they insisted on setting it before Batman exists. We start with the Waynes being murdered, and that's where we're starting from in terms of the timeline. And yet, and given what I've seen news-wise over the past 4 years as this show's been going on, they've basically went through every Batman villain.
I saw there was a trailer today as we're recording this second part. A trailer dropped that revealed their Harley Quinn for the new season.
Yep, they've got a Joker, they've got a horrible-looking Bane. We saw that photo.
Oh, God, we did, didn't we?
And I hate this side. And people, it's its own thing. It's an Elseworld, just go with it. And I'm like, yeah, I get it, but it bugs me. I think part of the reason why it bugs me is because it feels like over the last, 15 years, 20 years, actually, at this point, they're obsessed with doing Batman and Superman, related things, but never just doing Batman or Superman. And it kind of bugs me a little bit.
I'm inclined to hold Warner responsible for that decision.
Oh, sure. No, I'll agree with you. Yeah, it's probably Warner's fault. But, it kind of bugs me. Back to casting that's awful. Fish Mooney is an atrocious character. And I've seen Jada Pinkett Smith be fine in other things. She is chewing scenery in this, and it is atrocious.
Is she the worst part of this episode? She might actually be.
She might be.
Objectively, beyond the stuff that just conceptually we hate because it's why are they doing this to this character?
The fact that they renamed Pamela Isley to Ivy Pepper for some random reason.
Look, we'll get to that. We'll get to those things. But what I mean is Fish Mooney, what the hell? What is this character doing? It's so awful. And that's separate from anything that's why is it not this, why is it not that? It's just bad.
It's just bad on its own, and I don't understand the purpose of the character either. When I'm like, I guess it's because
introduce Penguin and that's it.
Yeah, if the story is supposed to be that Penguin overtakes her, then I suppose it can't just be Falcone because Falcone still has to exist later. Although I get the feeling this show's not going to make sure things are in place, but it leaves it all off.
Who cares?
Anyway, but why not just have it be Falcone who he's taken over from? But they had this Fish Mooney character, so why not? And
the only thing is, I'm pretty sure she's gone within the season.
Joe, what's really funny to me though is that I never caught her name in this episode when I watched it again. I may have been guilty of checking Twitter a lot during this.
I fell asleep before the title credit.
But you went back and watched the rest before people comment saying that you can't talk about it.
I did watch the rest. I forced myself through it, but I just want to point out how quickly it put me to sleep.
But so here's the thing. I remembered Fish Mooney's name from the first time I watched. I didn't remember anything else, but I remembered her character was called Fish Mooney.
Yeah. I had vague recollections of what they did with various characters, like Nigma and Ivy, right?
Yeah, Nigma's working at the police station, Ivy's the little... So here's something I had forgotten, and nearly fell out of my seat when when it happened again, and I went, "Oh shit! I forgot they did this." Barbara Gordon had a relationship with Renee Montoya sometime in the past.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that too.
What? What's happening? And so here's the thing, Montoya's the first character that pops up where I'm like, wait a minute, everyone else, okay, I'll buy that, they're in their prime as Batman villains or whatever by the time, Gordon and Bullock should be older, right? It's certainly Gordon. I've never really thought of Bullock as being that much older, but Gordon, sure, Gordon should be much older than Batman.
Yeah.
Right, that's fine. But Montoya, when she walks in, and she's like, "Oh, you're Renee Montoya," and I'm like, This is the age you're supposed to be in, like 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, aren't we getting an older Montoya in the Birds of Prey movie?
Sure, why does that justify this, though?
I'm saying that it's weird to hold that as a criticism here when you were fine with it as casting in that movie.
Because in this, it's part of a larger problem. In that movie, they're just saying, no, we're just doing an older Montoya.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas to me, this is another example of wasting a... Because I'm pretty sure Montoya doesn't stick around. I feel like she's going to be gone by X amount of time and never come back.
Probably.
And I just feel like it's throwing the name out because people are going to recognise it when you have actually no intentions of using her. And then, which, by the way, at one point, Fish Mooney, because they have the Major Crimes Unit, right? That's what Montoya's a part of. At one point, she said, "Oh, we got a warning, or someone tipped off the MCU." And my first thought was, the Marvel Cinematic Universe? What? Oh, Major Crimes. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be honest. That didn't even cross my... I'm so used to hearing or reading MCU as Major Crimes Unit that I didn't even notice.
No, MCU just means Marvel Cinematic Universe to me now. So she said MCU, and that's what popped in my head.
No, I get why you would think that. It honestly never even crossed my mind.
But yeah, so I don't know, just one of those things. It just kind of bugged me. There's just so many little things that rub me the wrong way, and it's like, yeah, it's just treated as an Elseworlds. Everything's different. I'm like, yeah, I can to a point, but so much of it just feels there for the sake of using names. So
I'll tell you the one other thing that I did in terms of character that I quite liked.
Okay.
We got a sassy Alfred.
Kind of. I would say he goes beyond sassy and he's more aggressive.
I don't know. I'm thinking like at the end where he's with Gordon and he's being sarcastic.
Sure, but there's also points when he says, get your ass down from there and things like that. He sounds too rough.
I think that comes with him being a bit more parental in the younger days. We don't see as much of that in the comics, right?
I don't know. I
don't know. For the most part, I feel like he feels sassy enough. Sarcastic.
Like Bruce's parents have just died, and he's like being this stern disciplinarian. It just feels off to me as Alfred. And speaking of Bruce's parents just died, this is something I hated the first time I watched it, and I hate it now too. His parents have just been shot, literally within the past week, and he's already standing on the roof, and when he's asked why he's going up to the roof, he says, "I'm learning to conquer fear." No! It was a week ago! You don't start thinking like this for years! Shut up!
Yeah. I got nothing to say to that one.
I'm conquering my fear. Oh my god, I want to throw him off the roof.
That would have solved a lot of problems. I mean, not all the problems, but some of the problems.
Oh dear. And like the idea of Gordon having to put up with the fact that he's in a corrupt system and how, like, there's potentially great material.
That's classic early days Gordon.
Yeah, there's potential great stuff within this, and even the idea of the redemption of Bullock, where, you know, being with Gordon will turn Bullock into still a rough but, you know, a good-hearted cop, because at the start he seems willing to just, you know, shoot bad guys for mobsters and stuff like that. Like, yeah, give us the redemption of Harvey Bullock where he becomes more of a noble. Sure, it'll still play outside the rules, but he's
still be a bit of a dick, because that's Bullock, right?
But, you know, become more of the Bullock that actually is kind of redeemable, right? To become that.
Yeah, and those things I don't really have a problem with. Like,
yeah, that's fine. Like,
those two in particular are probably the best element of the show.
Which is why I think I watched at least a few of them when it started, because I saw potential in at least these two characters.
Yeah.
But I didn't like a lot of the rest of it, and unfortunately, stupidity keeps coming.
Yet here we are.
And I hate Gordon's wife with a passion. I think...
Yeah, I remember hearing something about her going crazy in the second season.
Yeah, I mean, mild spoilers if you've not watched Gotham, but I'm pretty sure she becomes a villain, which... Again, very different. And I think what I hate about her is, to me, her character is the... Now, this is not on the CW, right? But her character is the network TV CW, the hot wife, girlfriend character, who's there just for the hotness of the... Because the main character...
And it's like, ooh, look, mysterious past.
Yeah, like, it feels so generic TV, this character is unreal.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you want to set something before Batman, then just set it before goddamn Batman. Instead, you're obsessed with throwing in as many names as you possibly can.
Yeah, how many was there in this episode? Because obviously you had Ivy, Riddler, Penguin,
Falcone. You got a comedian on stage, which I'm pretty sure is maybe this running gag of, oh, who could be the Joker? It's one of these comedians.
Yeah. That's 5.
Catwoman.
Can't forget Catwoman.
Montoya.
Yeah.
I'm counting Montoya because she shouldn't really be there.
Okay, sure. I'll give you Montoya. That's 7.
And don't get me wrong, I think Falcone's fine. Like, I'm not even complaining that Falcone's mentioned. He should exist before Batman.
Yeah, him being, the crime boss. That's probably what this show should be.
Falcone and Maroni. Those two should be at war in Gotham. That should be the core.
Oh, it should be those two, and then the cops. Probably is what this show is supposed to be.
Yes. Or, if you want to use the villain, because honestly, the crazy villains interacting, like how do the police deal with them, is one of the best parts of Gotham Central, which is why you set it in a post-Batman world.
Yeah. Okay. Obviously, I'm assuming that Warner has told them, no, Batman, do it this way. You have to do it before. Just go forget it. We'll do the crime story.
Yeah. Just don't use all those other things.
Yeah.
That's the choice they should be making. And the fact that we have an upcoming Batwoman show where Batman has been active but has now disappeared proves that you can just do this. Like, just Batman's been gone for a while and go from there.
Yeah, like if they say, oh, Batman, you know what, say when his back's broken, he's out of commission, there is no Batman. No one came in to fill the mantle for a little while. It's like, there's no Batman. Shit, the crazies are on the loose. What are we going to do?
Yeah, you can do that. There's many versions of like the cop show in Gotham that make sense to me and work. This is a combination of all the things that don't work.
It's almost impressive how bad this is.
John Doman, who plays Falcone, I think he's okay.
Yeah, I've no problem with him.
He's got a presence. He's a mob boss. That's what he is. In terms of plot beats, all in the fact that Gordon promises to Bruce that he'll find the real killer and offers Bruce his badge and then gives Bruce the choice of whether or not he should keep going, because you give that choice to the 10-year-old who just lost his parents.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, keep finding them. keep looking for him. I'll want to see him again. He's all vengeance-y. Oh god. Bruce should not be a main character in this. I get the idea of starting it with the Waynes dying just to sort of timeline it, right? But honestly, after this episode, I would never want to see Bruce again.
Yeah, I get we want to look for the Waynes killers as a plot thread. Do that, but why are we spending time with Bruce?
Yeah, I don't think we should see him at all. I think it's an awful idea. There should be no Bruce. There should be no Alfred. Outside of the rare cameo for a special moment or whatever, but them as main characters just doesn't. And I get that all of this might not matter when it just starts being batshit insane in season 2.
And we've got a long time till we get to.
And we can just get into because we're going to take a break between seasons. We'll swap to other shows between seasons, so it'll be a while. But I'm just saying, everyone who keeps saying to me that Gotham is an entertaining show, I'm going to trust you to a point, but I'm not seeing it yet. Right now, I am seeing generic network TV with lots of pulling from Bat mythology in ways that annoy me.
Yeah, I feel like now once Titans is done, this might have to be paired with Arrow.
This will be the drunk
watches. Yeah.
I can see that.
I mean, hell, maybe even next week because we got one more time. There's no Arrow.
Actually, what are you talking about? When Arrow's back on, we won't be doing this.
That is a good point.
This is off-season content.
Unless Arrow is the only one on.
Sure, yeah. If there's a weird week where most things are off, but Arrow's still on, and sure, this will get paired with Arrow. But
has unfortunately happened in the past.
It has been. The dark weeks, we don't talk about them.
Yeah.
I want to point out, by the way, that before, last night when we recorded the first half of this show, and we were going to go straight into this, Cora said, okay, you've got about 15-20 minutes, and I said, what, to finish the show? And I'm like, no, we need that alone for Gotham, maybe more.
Oh, we could have squeezed Gotham into that.
We couldn't. We would have been shortchanging them on Rage. They'd have been shortchanged. And I don't want to do that to them.
Instead, they get it late. I mean, it would have been late.
Better late than never. That's
yeah.
A delayed episode will be good forever, but a rushed episode will be shit forever. There you go.
I feel like you kind of butchered that.
I butchered that. Yeah, the first part was meant to be it'll be up eventually, but still be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. This is what happens when I try to quote a Nintendo thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Just doesn't work.
My brain and Nintendo just don't, click together, and a paradox is made in my brain, and it makes me say stupid things. That's what happened.
I don't think you need help saying stupid things. You know.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, so in terms of plot, in terms of things we have to be aware of, mostly it's just introducing the world of the cops. Gordon's up against all the villains. Falcone knew his father, so he kind of respects him, which is why he kind of saves him when Fish almost gets them killed. But to prove that he's not going to be a problem, Fish wants him to kill Penguin, because she knows Penguin ratted her out to the MCU. So there it is again. And Bullock is like, hey, I'm supposed to whack you if you don't. So he's honest with them about it with him, but Gordon takes him to the end of the pier and just shoots next to him and says, don't come back to Gotham, and throws him in the water. So we get Penguin coming out of the water and slashing a guy's throat right away, and I went, Gordon, you made a poor choice here. He immediately murdered an innocent person. Yeah, he immediately brutally murdered someone, which, to be honest, is one of my favourite moments of the episode, just because it is kind of savage. It's actually proper dark the way he just kills this guy.
Yeah, but I really don't like this version of Penguin.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I'm not feeling it as of yet either. But and then he steals the guy's sandwich because he's hungry.
That I can understand.
Swimming makes you hungry, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, any excuse to eat a sandwich.
Yeah, there's very little here that I like. I like the casting of Bullock. I mean, I think Mackenzie as Gordon's okay. He's just kind of the plain...
Yeah, I don't think he's anything bad.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with him, I don't think.
There's nothing that makes him Gordon, though.
He better have a mustache by season 5.
He better.
He better have a mustache.
Because this is the thing, I think he's a perfectly good, lead cop. I don't think he's Gordon. At least, he's there's nothing recognizable about Gordon to him yet.
I feel like that's okay, though. If the whole idea is this is what makes James Gordon, that's fine to start off with. I
agree, which is why I wasn't ever complaining about it. Whereas, we see Bullock. It's like, yeah, that's Bullock. It's a bit rough around the edges, isn't it? But he
has his ideals, and of course, the idea that Gordon will make Bullock a better cop and a better man is kind of like part of what you want, and that's fine. Yeah. That is all good. But everything else around it, I hate. I hate with a passion.
Yeah.
So, look forward to the discussion of episode 2 next week.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. Yeah, that's Gotham. And painfully, this was like a 6-minute longer episode. They had a slightly longer pilot.
Ugh.
I think on this show, I feel that extra 6 minutes.
I felt it.
But you're right, we should watch episode 2 together next week to get us through it. That's an idea.
Before or after Titans? How I don't know which one I want to be drunker for.
Oh, yeah, this is way worse than Titans. Don't even.
Yeah, but what I've heard about this episode of Titans, well, I don't know.
Titans. I mean, the last episode, excluded from this because I've not seen it, but Titans has things I like in it. It might not always be good, but there's things I like in Titans. Whereas this.
That's true.
Titans has not given me Balloon Man yet. Then again, neither has this. I'm looking forward to that.
Neither is this yet. Yeah,
that's episode.
You will get there.
I think that's episode 4. I think that's the one that made me tap out. I think that
will be a
off.
special moment.
That pissed me off enough that I wanted to quit. I think I still watched episode 5 after that, but the writing was already on the wall after Balloon Man.
I think after Balloon Man, I watched the mid-season just because out of habit, but I did it while doing the washing up and it was on behind me, so I wasn't really watching it. It was just kind of on, and then I just didn't come back after the break.
Yeah. But you voted for it, folks.
You bastards.
And I knew it would win. See, when I put those options in, I was like, Gotham's winning this by a landslide. And it wasn't a complete landslide. It was this was 50-something%, and then the other two made up the rest. So it was kind of a relatively even split in that sense, but it still won.
You rat bastards.
On a much nicer note, though, and I'm kind of glad to end with this, just so we can end some positivity, is Batman the Animated Series. We're going through in production order. So we're starting
the proper order.
The proper order. So we're starting with On Leather Wings, which is Season 1, Episode 1, kind of. Honestly, I'm just going to tell you the episode title each week. I'm not going to give you a number, because... One, it's kind of weird because they've been split up in different ways over the years into volumes rather than seasons, because Season 1's actually like 60 episodes.
It goes 1 through... Let me have a look. I'm flicking. It actually goes 1 through 65.
Yeah, well, no, see, I can explain this.
Yeah. No, I know, but I'm just saying, yeah.
Yeah, so they aired 60 episodes as Season 1, but they actually made 65, because that's what they need for syndication at the time. But the last 5 were held to air in the fall. I assume right before what Season 2 was.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
And they've got Season 2 as 20 episodes.
I mean, it doesn't really have continuity, so there's no real reason to care about it. Although that said, watching this episode, Harvey Dent is Harvey Dent and not Two-Face means there is some little amounts of continuity, like things like that.
Yeah, because that's coming up in a little bit.
Yeah, so clearly there is characters who will become villains later who are around, as does their normal selves at the start. So
yeah, which is why you do production order.
Which is why you do production order and not the airing order, yes. But anyway, so On Leather Wings. Do you know how weird it is to me that they chose Man-Bat as the first episode?
It's weird, but I can understand why. I get they went, hey, what do we do to show Batman? And to go with that mystery at the start of, oh, is that Batman around there? And you can play with the the bat silhouettes.
I almost wonder as well if it's almost like they don't want to do a big villain in the first episode because they want to try one first, in case it's a bit rough, right? In case they whiff their first episode.
I think it's almost a proof of no, this show can work when it's not just doing villains every big villains every week.
Sure,
yeah. When they're pitching it, it's like no, look.
Yeah, but here's the weird thing though. In 19, when did this air? 1991. Yeah. Here's the thing. When this animated series started, how many of the villains that we would consider big villains now were big villains at the time?
That's a fair question.
I feel
92, I'm seeing, by the way. I
feel like the big ones at the time are probably just the ones who were big on the 60s show. But something like... Because we would say Bane's a big villain now. But Bane didn't even exist when this show started.
Yeah, of course.
Or he was created around the same time. I mean, he does pop up eventually, obviously.
Yeah, a bit later. Yeah.
But Bane, wasn't big yet. Certainly.
No, it's kind of Catwoman, Two-Face,
Riddler,
Joker. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like this did a lot for Poison Ivy. This show, I don't think she was big before in the same way.
That's fair.
And I'm sure there's others as well. Mr. Freeze definitely was elevated.
Yes,
immensely by this, yeah. So but yeah, so it's a Man-Bat episode, and we start off. We see the GCPD blimp, and we see the shadow of the bat flying around, and it kills a security guard. By the way, the animation in this is gorgeous. Obviously, one of the things that the trivia that always comes up is that to get the look that they got is they drew it on black paper. To give it
why draw everything black when you can just start with black and go from there?
But it does give it a unique dark look that most cartoons don't have.
It does, and the new restoration is phenomenal.
Yeah, it looks great.
It has been lightened a little bit, so you could see a little bit more detail, but it was clearly a stylistic choice rather than just to clean it. It's not quite as dark as it used to be.
No, it looks great. I miss this style of animation. I feel like it's something that we've kind of lost for the most part since this era. And so watching this now, it was surprising me. Batman cracks a little joke in this, and Alfred's sassy, and I was like, oh, yeah, Batman, wasn't afraid to crack a joke. And I feel like it's something that they're kind of afraid to do now with Batman, is that you have to make him grim as possible right from the get-go, because that's what Batman is. And this Batman does not sacrifice any of his mystique or Batmaniness. Despite the fact, on the first scene we see him in, he does a smirk with Alfred after Alfred cracks a joke. And
it's a classic gif.
And it's alright. It works. It's fine. So obviously Batman goes to... the press think it's Batman, of course, and we get like the mayor with Bullock
Batman's
and Gordon.
Kind of a rumor still at this point, though. He's not out in public.
So Bullock is convinced it's Batman. He wants to get the task force. He's kind of arguing with Gordon, and the mayor's like, well, "What do we do?" Harvey's there, tossing his coin, all that set up, and then Batman goes to the crime scene to investigate. They think it's he's the bat that did this in the first place, so they roll up with squad cars, and of course Batman ends up saving one of the SWAT team when the building ends up blowing up because the SWAT team member shoots a tank or something or other, which blows the place up. And Batman then it turns out it's sort of detective mode Batman, where he does some investigating. He goes in as Bruce Wayne to these scientists, and we meet Kirk Langstrom. And I like that when I first watched this, I probably didn't know he was Man-Bat, whereas now I'm watching, I'm like, yeah, it's Kirk Langstrom. Of course he's Man-Bat.
Yeah, but when you were like 5 watching this,
I was like, oh, it's Kirk Langstrom. He's Batman. Oh, he's Man-Bat rather, not Batman. Yeah. Man-Bat. So yeah, I mean, there's some cheesy elements like Kirk basically just monologues as a villain before he turns into Man-Bat in front of Bruce, or in front of Batman, and then we get the flying through the skies and Batman like sort of tackle them.
The animation of the flight specifically. There's a bit where Batman, he does a circle spin, and it's so smooth.
Yeah,
it looks fantastic.
Batman knows the line because the scientist says, no, it's just these noises you recorded. They're just a mixture of these two things. But the Bat computer's like, nah, no, I'm not.
Yeah, shut up, mate.
So he knows the line, and that's what kind of leads him to it. But it shows the compassion of Batman. He brings the cured, Kirk back to his wife at the end, and kind of hands him back in. So I mean, it showcases Batman's detective skills. We get to see the Batmobile. We get to hear Shirley Walker's fantastic theme that plays as the Batmobile's leaving.
It is great.
So it's actually a really good showcase of an episode. Just purely for like, okay, here's the type of things Batman will do. He investigates. He goes out as Bruce Wayne. We see him gliding around the city. We see all these things.
It's why I think it's an excellent first episode, because it introduces you to all the different elements. And it has the mystery, for a first-time viewer of, okay, what's Batman? And then that's why the Man-Bat works so well, because it plays off that lack of expectation almost of like, okay, well, how is that Batman? What's going on here? If you don't know going in. All right, Batman's not killing people, so what is this that is telling me it might be Batman?
No. Solid first episode. So there you go. So we'll do 2 of these next week. We'll do 2 episodes next week, because we'll have a regular length episode of The Flash,
which, if I counted correctly, should lead us in nicely for the first 2-parter to be together.
Yes. So so that pretty much wraps us up. Although there was like a short teaser that dropped today for Doom Patrol. With the release date is February 15th. I think at the start of this, I was roughly saying there was a date.
No, we were, but we didn't want to say it outright because we were like, well, it's only rumors. Yeah. It lines up with what we expected, but we weren't 100% certain.
But now we know for sure. They've officially announced February 15th is the day for Doom Patrol.
Which I think gives us a week off again after Young Justice.
It may even be 2 weeks off, actually.
1, 2... yeah, it will be, won't it?
Yeah, so there you go. That's the thing.
2 weeks off.
I mean, what that might mean is that we might sneak in, say, 1 Gotham and 1 Flash over 2 weeks, when, assuming we're only like 4 shows for the other stuff over that time.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind that Legends and Black Lightning aren't coming on at the same time. So you might get, or maybe a bonus Batman animated series or whatever. I don't know. But
we'll see what the week's stacking up like.
Yeah, we'll see what the weeks are like. But you may get some bonus archive content those 2 weeks. Or we may just take the well-earned 2 weeks later schedule.
Because it's kind of a slog to do the 6 episodes we have been, right?
Which luckily we don't have to do again, unless when Krypton comes back, it'll. Yeah. I'm actually really glad that Young Justice will pretty much be over already by the time the other shows come back, because they're giving us 3 a week, the bastards.
Yeah, I mean, when are the other shows coming back? I know we've got them roughly there. I'm just having a look. We've got.
It's around the 20th, 21st.
Yeah, so Flash is coming back on the 2nd week of Young Justice. That's coming back first. And then
everything else is a week later, though.
Is a week later. So we'll have a full slate with 3 Young Justices. that third week of Young Justice.
And then the 4th week's the last week, though, so it's fine.
Yes, although there's 4 Young Justices that week, right?
Sure, but you know.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a Batman that week. I'll tell you that now.
Oh, there won't be. But I mean, this actually works out to be the same as what we've been doing, though, because 2 Young Justice replace Titans, and then the other 2 replace Legends.
All it means is one of the other shows has to join the drunk slot that was Titans, because otherwise we're not getting them all watched.
Oh, Flash, probably.
Probably is, yeah.
But that's okay. So we're just kind of rambling out. But that is this week's Weird Television from the Multiverse. We'll be back next week with the finale of Titans and with the next Flash 90s, Gotham, and next 2 animated Batman episodes. So look forward to that. Let us know what you thought of these episodes in the comments. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. Or get us on Twitter at DC Comics Podcast for DC stuff. If you want to support the show and the channel and everything we do here, you can go over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. And you can do that over there for as little as $1 per month. But otherwise, that is us. So.
I would just say, if you're watching this, as it's going up, I believe you are doing a live stream next week.
Yeah, December 26th. Assuming people like it and it works out. This will become kind of a weekly thing. I'll do a live stream just talking about basically any of the content we typically cover. Like, so I would normally expect stuff from the past week. With chat, and anything else I've done. Like this week I've been catching up some Marvel comics. I'll probably talk about them for a bit, that kind of thing. But I mean, it's kind of open.
Some Q&A,
Yeah, Q&A. It's open to. It's basically chat and interaction with the audience. It'll probably normally be Monday, but because Monday's Christmas Eve, it'll be Wednesday. So it's Wednesday, 8 UK, 3 Eastern, and noon Pacific. And if there's demand, there may be like a second one some weeks where it's much later, so depending on your time zone, it may be much more preferable. Which will be the nights edition, so I can do my nights at the end of it.
Just turn all the lights down.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, because right now it's just called MailFuzz TV Live, and I was really debating coming up with a proper name for it, just so I could do my version of Troy and Abed in the morning, and then do the nights. And there could be the other people from MailFuzz TV might guest on it sometimes, but right now I'm just testing it out with myself. So you can join.
I'm sure I will be there eventually when there's a nice quiet time for me to jump on.
Yes, precisely. So that's coming Wednesday. But yeah, so that is. So thank you very much for watching and listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching superhero TV and all those sorts of shenanigans, and always remember that sometimes we screw things up for the better.